Finance Committee meeting for June 3rd, 2024. Council Jones, Waltney, Allemon, Smith,
Here.
Hardin. So you got 3.
All right, hold on to a quorum. Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading and approve the minutes as distributed by Mr. Seacrest?
So moved.
Motion from Mr. Allemon, second from Mr. Gwaltney. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 3-0. Those are approved. All right, old business 200623, request for consideration of a city manager. We don't really have any new information, but Alex, do we want to talk about the signatures?
I'm sorry, talk about that.
For city manager.
So we've got a couple of events coming up, starting tomorrow night. We've got one here, where Sam Gaston's coming to speak, and then another one, Nick, you got this better than me.
Friday, June 14th, lunchtime frame, so it's gonna be 11:30 to 12:30. Well, presentation starts at 11:30. We'll be here starting at 11, answering questions and, walking through maps and so forth, but that's gonna feature Gretchen DeFonte, who's the city manager of Pelham, presenting. And then President Wyatt doing an overview of our plan.
So, if y'all will, just, spread word about those around, and, then we're going to, I'll talk with each of you about, something as well. I don't wanna make it too much of a city activity, but, I'll talk to each of you a little bit individually tonight about, some goals with regard to the petition.
Do we know how many we need to get?
So I just counted, and there are 200, we have in this building, we have 288 signatures, and Beverly LaBeouf is bringing some tomorrow. Margaret Ann Pyburn has some that she is going to get up here, and Lindsay Chitwood has some, we don't know how many. So we're hoping that once we get the signatures from those 3, were those signatures?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got 11.
Well, come on, hand them over.
Yeah, we'll take 'em.
That is we now have 299, so.
So how many do we need is what I keep
It's a
trying to find out.
So, the number is.
I can't remember the exact number, but it's around 550.
Yeah, so we're
Halfway there.
we're halfway there, a little more than halfway there, but, and like Alex said, we kind of talked through some ideas about what that might look like, that we'll discuss, not in committee meeting, but kind of,
Sure.
since, our charge is not to advocate for a position from the city standpoint, but as individual counselors and people, citizens, we absolutely can. Thank you for these.
Have any of them been validated yet, or are we just gonna wait till we get?
Validate them all.
All at the same time, so once they're all collected, then we send them to the state.
Probate court does that.
Yeah,
So-
Okay, well, would it not, okay.
I mean, they're not gonna take them piecemeal. I mean, they're gonna.
So
learn.
I thought early on
Oh,
that
you
we
mean
had
compare-
information.
Yeah, so validating really is something different. You're talking about comparing them to the
Making
list
sure
of
they
voters.
voted and that they're.
The ones, we haven't done them all, but the ones we've seen that we have done that with have been voters.
Okay.
But we keep getting some, so we haven't done all.
Okay.
They had
But
to
we're
vote in
making sure
Homewood?
that we look at
Who
them.
voted in the last municipal election?
In the Homewood?
In the last
Yes.
Homewood municipal election.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
that
got
would be
some
vital.
people who moved from Mountain Brook to Homewood, they said they'd love to sign, but they signed.
Yeah,
voted.
not if they need to have voted in the
Okay.
2020 Homewood elected municipal election.
That's
So
what I
we'll check
figured.
that before we send it out.
Correct, before we send it to the probate court.
Okay.
Is there any way that we could, and I don't know if we're already doing this, but in terms of the forums, do we have a city text app that we can just alert residents so that we increase awareness of the actual forum?
So
Is
you
that something
have
we
the
can do?
Everbridge, can you send out those, well, and also, let me ask that, are we allowed to do that?
Yeah, so that's the question.
It's a
I think we're allowed to send it out for an informational
forum.
forum, and I think we need to be careful about the wording that we put on there, but I'm happy to talk with Bo about that.
Okay.
I think it's an excellent idea.
Um,
I sent my newsletter out today, but I think anything we can do. to
I
get
think
more
that
out.
official city messaging about the forum, which is educational,
Right,
would be good.
and then
So
Brian can also scroll that, right, Brian, on the homepage for the city?
I have been, yes.
Okay, and
All
can
the
we-
information has been on the website.
Okay, and then can we add the fact that we're doing these 2 forums tomorrow night and
Yes,
on
they're
June
there.
14th?
We've also done them on, posted on social as well.
Okay, perfect.
Which
Came across Homewood Star online, it came across there as well, whoever, somebody put it there.
Okay, good, yeah, so, like, we'll be talking to individual folks about what the next steps and the path forward looks like, but, thank you to everybody who has worked on that and getting signatures, that is always good, and so we'll carry that item over, to continue to discuss that as we go forward. New business, 07/05/24, request to upgrade the PC network tech position to a network systems administrator, coming from our new IT director, Brandon Sims. Brandon, take the floor.
Good evening, everyone. So after reviewing the police department's data center and kind of getting a better understanding of the technical complexities that they have, and the level of support that they need, I don't think it would be a good idea for us to put a PC tech in that position. Currently, we're outsourcing through another company for a part-time role through somebody who's actually has worked with the police department in the past. So he has a wealth of knowledge about how their stuff works. But they have an entire virtualized data center, enterprise storage, networking equipment. They have a lot of things that are going over there. And I think that if we put a PC tech person in that role, they're going to quickly be overwhelmed. And I think that it would be better for us to upgrade that position to someone who can not only serve better in the immediate role to their support to the police department, but that could also pitch in to help support the infrastructure across the city.
Right.
So the result would be moving that position from, it would move from a grade 23 to a grade 28, which results in a difference of $7.38 for step one. So, which.
What's the total difference in salary then?
So the annual for step one on the PC Tech is $55,556.80, and the annual for step one on the network admin would be $70,907.20.
So about a
15K
15,000.
difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which still, even if we upgrade that position, we're still coming in, if not half, close to half of what we're paying just to outsource part-time right now.
Right.
So,
Oh, that's good, yeah.
And Brandon, do you know from the personnel board side, is there a list right now? Oh,
I do not know.
Thank you.
I do
Thank
not
you.
know. I wanted to make sure that we were okay to upgrade it.
Before
And
you looked, okay, I just was wondering if you had any idea if there was a list out there of folks.
Where would we move the money from?
Hey, finance people.
Where would we move the money from, if we choose to
Upgrade the position, like where would we be moving the money for to,
Is it new money?
Is the money already budgeted for the other position?
Yes.
so that's already
So
budgeted.
you gotta remember, you can move it because you're already almost, over halfway through with the fiscal year.
Right.
So you can move the money from the position that's not filled into that one to complete this year. And just remember,
And
It doesn't
they'll-
need-
Could we get away from the part-time position? I mean, is there any complexities there?
Sorry, say that again.
Like, you said that we're currently outsourcing for a part-time person, how quickly can we move from one to the other?
depending on the list.
Some of that depends on, on the list, how quickly we can get somebody in-house. I would recommend that we give the new person at least 30 days, but I would prefer probably 60, maybe 30, within we cut back to even half of the part-time. But just giving them access to Steve so that they can absorb that knowledge and get that firsthand training.
So it wouldn't be just new money, available right away? 'Cause
Well,
if we
and
keep
like-
that person, there's gonna be some overlap there.
Right, well, so like Berkeley said,
It's not new money.
It's not new
yeah,
money, you're just
the money's
moving
already,
old money.
right,
That's
right.
all you're doing, it's transferring it from one.
We're just moving
basically
from one line to another line.
We should
That's
be
all
able to
you're
finish
doing.
the year
And
with
then
what's
build it into
allocated
the
for the
budget.
network tech, and
Yeah.
then we can budget for next year.
You got-
And we
you
can probably
got
budget
money
by
in there
pulling
for
some
it.
out of
That's right,
contractual
we're already in
services of
June.
some kind.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. the-
Yeah, they're
the
being paid out of
Okay.
contractual services,
Yeah.
what they do.
So,
on that
well,
one.
y'all tell me if I'm misstating this, but we're just moving money for this position. Brandon and I had a meeting last week, and IT needs
Someone got it.
additional, well, they need this now, and they need some additional resources, and there's probably gonna be a request for at least one or two more positions, moving into next year that we'll discuss during budget. So what we discussed was getting this done,
You'll also see on the referral agenda on Monday, there's some items about some new software that, quite frankly, he's using some other money to go ahead and get because we need it in place quickly, and then we'll shift that around with the item coming up next Monday. But there's going to be a request to sort of redo that office in essence, and staff that office in a different way that's coming up during the budget. So there's I say all that to simply say there's a much longer discussion about the staffing of the IT department that's coming up in budget. This is just
An emergent meeting.
he's triaging right now, and this and the software are the first priorities.
Well, I guess, back to all the conversations we're having right now, and I get it, and I appreciate you saying this was the one that needs to happen, but what I don't wanna be in a situation that over the summer, we keep on getting these triage positions, and we don't know how the full picture is. It's easy to say yes thing when we're getting them piecemeal,
Yeah.
but it's hard to get a full sense of all the dollars we're actually approving.
And that's the conversation that Brandon and I actually had this week, was this position was already in the works, but the new positions need to be reviewed along with the new positions of all the other departments and the existing positions of all the other departments, because our job as a council is to look at not just one department and how it's staffed, but how the entire city is staffed, and is that done correctly, and are we allocating manpower and resources for manpower correctly amongst the departments.
I mean, it's June, I mean, we're gonna be
Yes,
2 months
we're
from now.
Yeah.
we're almost there.
Yeah.
That's what I mean,
Like, the
but
money's
it
already
is June,
there,
but we're
you're
not
not
waiting till
transfer anything,
September right now
it's
for this
salary
position.
line.
Yeah,
So I just
no.
wanna make sure that we're not doing
Do
this.
it.
And also getting a sense of how the dollars are being transferred, if there are gonna be new dollars, what is the thing,
Yeah.
just the.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, the good
Just
news is
information.
this position was already approved, so
Right.
the money's already there in the budget.
Well, for the part,
allocated.
which is, but it's a low bird, yeah.
Well, no, for the money was already there for the tech position. They've been
Correct.
using
Correct.
they've been
I
using
see
the
what you're
part-time
saying.
guy, yeah, they've been using the contractual services money for the contract guy, but this position was already in the
It's
budget.
already in the salary line.
So it's just changing it from
55
the
to
tech
70.
position to
Yeah, it's a
systems
$15,000
administrator.
increase.
Yeah.
Which is
Counselor
still less than
Smith.
what we're paying.
The part-time
Part-time people.
contract guy, yeah. So-
Counselor Smith, do we know the hourly rate of the current contract person?
$150 an hour.
There you
is
go.
what we pay.
And do we know how many hours approximately have been billed this fiscal year?
So, I have to go look to see if they can even give us a breakdown for hours specifically for him. But ever since I moved them to specifying a scope of work for each block of hours, they charged us, it was right at $13,000 for this past month, for May.
For the month,
For him, yes.
So, yeah, this'll be a
Good.
savings.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second.
Upgrading the PC network tech to the network system administrator.
All right. Motion Second
Just want
from
more information.
Mr. Waltley. All right,
Let's leave with the information.
all in favor, please
Aye.
say aye.
Aye.
4-0, that is approved and will be in council on Monday night.
Hey, it sounded good.
080524, request for consideration of budget amendments for the fiscal year 23-24 Public Works transfer to street materials and supplies, and parks transfer to travel and conference. And I have an email that outlines all of this, unless you would like to take that, Berkeley. I can just read out exactly what that
Yeah, I'm
is.
just moving it from one line, I got one, Rusty's gotta go to the, a conference for his CEUs in, September. And I've also got two of the new employees are going to get their CEU credits as well.
Okay, and
And
so,
then-
is that Ben and Saul?
Yeah.
Okay. So for the Public Works, wait.
It's just adding to, on our street materials and supplies, and some work we're doing in some of the alleys.
And some dump fees,
Yes. and-
because shockingly, y'all,
and the
we're
dump
still
fee.
dumping from the storms.
If you ride by, if you wanna see the pile, it's still there.
Yeah, so we're still working on, reducing the pile from tornado damage in December.
We haul 5 days a week.
Mhm. Yes.
Motion up first.
Yes, yes. Okay, so I have a motion from Mr. Gwaltney to approve those, budget transfers, and, have a second from Mr. Alwan. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 4-0, those are approved. And then our final item is 090524, request permission to adopt the Division G multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan and have the mayor sign a validation statement from Chief Broadhead and Mr. Smith.
Yeah, so, Division G Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan came out in 2022, and it replaced the Jefferson County Mitigation Plan. So Division G covers these counties that are up here, and it basically covers flooding, firestorms, hurricanes, earthquakes, mitigation. It makes recommendations. It doesn't compel the city to take any action. We adopted, these mitigation plans come out every 5 years. Before this one came out, we had adopted Jefferson County's mitigation plan every 5 years. For some reason, this got by us and we didn't realize it until we were doing all of our CRS prep and getting ready for the FEMA recertification that happens on June 26th. So we're trying to get this adopted before that recertification happens.
Okay. And so you have to have approved this prior to being FEMA recertified?
That's right, and the benefit of it is it does help with our CRS credits, and also it opens up FEMA funding for grants.
Okay.
And is this AEM, is Alabama Environmental Management?
That's right.
Can I ask why this is in finance? Is there money involved?
There's no money involved except for it opens the, it's a contract and the mayor has to sign a letter. And those typically come here.
And then it also, I think you also said there might be grant funding opportunities as
There are
well.
opportunities, right, but
Yeah.
there aren't any
Yeah, not
specific
currently specific.
requests.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I make a motion to approve, the Division G Multi-Jurisdictional.
Okay. All right, motion from Mr. Harden. Second from Mr. Gwaltney. All in favor, please say aye. Aye, 4-0, that is approved, and with no other items, we are adjourned.